Hey gang, what's going on? Juan here, and you know the deal. Another week, another Lucha Underground Season 2 review, but before going on any further, you may be noticing my background is a little bit different. That La Parka mask right there, look at that one. It got a sexy upgrade with some Johnny Mundo glasses, and over here, you may be seeing I got a signed Johnny Mundo poster, and I got those in my first ever Wrestle Crate video, which you can check out right here on the channel, so make sure you do so. It is super worth it. It was my first ever box, and I can't wait to keep getting more of those. I also want to thank you guys for your support, your appreciation for my Lucha Underground reviews. I got a lot of positive feedback on episode 2. Keep in mind, I am still familiarizing myself with Lucha Underground. I didn't watch a lot of season 1, but I am watching season 2 on a weekly basis, and I am here to talk about it. So let's not hold off any longer. Season 2. Episode 3 overall impressions. I like this. I enjoyed it a little bit more than episode 2. I thought the first one had a very strong start, as it should be for people that maybe have not watched it previously. The second one, it brought back a couple of familiar faces, but it didn't really do too much for me. Now, this one did start out in a similar way, but we'll get to the end, which just completely changed the whole landscape of this episode. But overall, really, and just an enjoyable experience. I do have some additional details, but I want to save those for the end of this review here. So first things first, we're dealing with a highlight video, just recapping some things happening between King Cuerno, Ivelisse, Havoc, Angelico, Pentagon Jr. Basically, what is going on right now? What's going on in Puerto Rico? It's super hot. I'm recording this at 10 p.m. Eastern time, and it is like 100 degrees. I'm not even joking right now, so I'm dying, but that's not the point. The point is that next, we have Imperial hyping up the show. Vampiro, I'm starting to just get a little bit annoyed / aggravated by him. Am I the only one that's getting that? Because he tries to be so cheerful, so happy to be at the temple, and I get it. The temple is an awesome place. I would love to be there. Calm down, buddy. I know you're on your medication from a kayfabe standpoint. I understand all of that. But he sort of pulls me out from everything that is happening. You have these deep, rich storylines that are happening in the background. Not that these are, just amazing cinematic experiences of stories, but they're enjoyable. But then the way he talks and everything, I don't know, just let's put that to the side. But that is an annoyance that I do have right now with Lucha Underground. Now, match 1, we have Bengala taking on the debuting female wrestler Cobra Moon. We got a high video last week, which I talked about. Not too familiar with who she is behind the mask, but the point is, how was she in her first Lucha Underground match? And I have to say, she was okay. I'll be honest, I watched this match thinking, like, am I missing something here? It started off really good, delivering some great drop kicks. Cobra Moon won, by the way, with a Dragon Sleeper, which I like the fact that she does have a submission finishing maneuver. But then as the match progressed, her match pacing seemed to be getting a lot slower. The camera did not help. A lot of times, there was one point where she needed her opponent, like while he was near the ropes, but just the camera angle and what she did made it look so weak, and her pacing, her speed was just progressively slower, almost as if she was getting tired throughout the match. Now, I just didn't feel all of this at all, to be quite honest. I kept thinking, am I just being too negative here? I know that I'm just watching this. I'm not as familiar as I should be with the Lucha style, but just way too much slapping of the thigh. There was one kick that she did where it was not nearly that fast, but she slapped her thigh like, was supposed to just behead the guy, and it didn't. And when things like that happen, it just sort of takes you out of the experience. And I guess, it's her first match. I'm going to give this one a pass, but it is just something that I honestly didn't enjoy very much. Next, we were treated to a backstage segment featuring the lovely Katrina. Now, Phoenix once King Cuerno. King Cuerno is the Gift of the Gods champion. I just love that name. Gift of the Gods Championship. It's just amazing, right? So that's going to come back a little bit later, so I'll save that for then. But then we have arguably the greatest segment that I think Lucha Underground has ever seen. Twitter just blew up the moment this happened, but we have this thing where it's a millennia ago. Who is coming? The gods in form of men. Aerostar is in this scene, and he's like, yeah, man, like, okay, I get it, something's happening here, but I'll go there. I will do what needs to be done. And then he proceeds, because his name is Aerostar, so, Arrow, Ariel, stars. He flies to the stars. He is somebody that really lives by his name. And there were responses that were a little negative, like they went a little bit too far with this, but we have people that are basically zombies in Lucha Underground, so let's be real about this. But then there were other people that really enjoyed it, because the whole point of Lucha Underground is that it's a TV show with wrestling. How you doing, Jim Cornette? Now, for me, I enjoyed it, because I don't watch Lucha Underground to say this is fake, this is not. The moment you have more than one camera angle, the moment that you have all of this wrestling, a guy that broke his arm, let's be real here. Come on, you got to just enjoy the show. It's about an enjoyable experience. Now, was it cheesy? Yes, I think they could have done that a little bit better, from a production standpoint, but that doesn't mean I enjoyed it any less. A bit much for two people, but I thought it was pretty good for me. Now, I mentioned the whole King Cuerno thing was going to come back, and here it is right now. Another backstage segment. We have Katrina, King Cuerno. He's training. He's looking jacked, man. But then she comes in here. There's this sexual tension. She always likes to go around the wrestlers. I love that, because it's almost a thing where can you persuade them to do what you want them to do? Are they weak enough, or are they strong enough to really just ignore the sexual prowess or ability that Katrina has? But King Cuerno is scheduled for a last luchador standing match, non-title. So he cannot lose the title here, but he is going to main event this episode. Looking forward to it. It is my first ever last luchador standing match on Lucha Underground, and apparently King Cuerno is the one that actually won the one before it. So yeah. Now time for match number 2. Jack Evans on one side, already in the ring as a matter of fact, and about to come down the stairs is the fan favorite Drago. That mask, I want to wear that to work one day and just act normal, because I love that mask. The look is outstanding. I enjoyed that this was a definite heel versus babyface match. Jack Evans played the heel role to perfection while still being athletic. Now, that's a challenge. I know some people are not big fans of Jack Evans, but I enjoyed him in this match. Contrary to the first match of the night, this is just the reason why I love to watch lucha wrestling that I don't really get much in WWE or other places, but when I do get it here on Lucha Underground, and when it's done right, it's just an awesome experience. Little details, right at the beginning, Drago was one-upping Jack Evans, but then there was this one slap that Drago delivered where Jack Evans spun around 1,000 times. I'm pretty sure if Dolph Ziggler was watching that, he would have cried to himself to sleep, because I don't know if he can do that. So Jack Evans versus Dolph Ziggler, I don't think the whole universe can really handle that match, but I don't think it's going to happen either, so we don't have to worry about that, at least tonight. Another thing that really happened that I enjoyed is Jack Evans' handspring into eye gouge. Now, the conclusion of the match, I'm still analyzing if I enjoyed it or not. Now, the spot itself, Drago delivers a standing blockbuster. That's the flipping neckbreaker. Basically, Buff Bagwell's finisher in WCW. Hurricane Helms has done this move, a lot of people, but it was standing, and you're doing it to Jack Evans, who basically sells it like a massive pile driver. But then Jack Evans no-sells it completely, and he does the most effective backslide in wrestling history. The backslide is the move where, when you see it done, you never expect the match to actually end. At least that's what I think of that. But now it actually ended the match, and I don't know if I can do it with my hands, but basically he had him like this, and then he went over like this, and then the rope. crazy stuff, crazy athletic. Just, is he doing his DDP yoga? Because that is some flexibility in there. But he won the match right after, goes over to the announce table and calls himself the Dragon Slayer. What annoyed me out of all of this was that at no point was he grabbing his neck or something. I'm like, you just got basically power driven not 20 seconds ago. I understand that it's lucha style, you sell a little bit less. Same thing happened last week when Katrina got a spear. I got some comments saying that, Katrina's supposed to be superhuman also, so it's not like that should matter too much, but it does matter to me. Not so much because I consume mostly WWE, but even when I've watched Ring of Honor, TNA, other companies, when moves are sold to that extent, and when it's a wrestler during a, wait for it, wrestling match, I would hope for something like that to happen. But no, it didn't happen. Once again, I'm just going to throw it to the side, and I'll save my overall reactions for the end of the show. Now, up next, we got a quick promo hyping up the return of Tejano, the man that was assaulted, attacked by Chavo Guerrero and his evil partners. Now, in this process, Tejano is hyping himself up by just beating up people in a bar that are wearing masks. I think the waitress or the bartender was wearing a Lucha Underground t-shirt. Was that just me? I mean, okay, so I guess she's a fan, so then she sees Tejano. She's like super happy about that. I mentioned last week, I'm not a huge fan of these backstage choreographed battles because a lot of them look cheesy or just a sort of B-roll, but I think I got to get to my point before moving on because I keep saying this, I'm going to pull it to the end. Lucha Underground is part of the El Rey network, right? If you watch a lot of the movies that are in the El Rey network, and I don't mean this in any way, in any bad way at all, because I love these movies, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, etc. They have a certain campiness to them, or like a B type thing where they're not taking themselves too seriously, and some things that you may seem or may think look cheap or not, and they're done like that on purpose. And once you really realize that with Lucha Underground, where it is a thing where it's cinematic, wrestling, campy, sort of B-type great thing where even though you're enjoying a really awesome story that can get out of hand and a guy can literally fly up to the stars, the whole reason that you watch this is to have fun. F is for friends who do stuff together. And you sit down, and that is a SpongeBob reference, but you sit down and you just enjoy. You disconnect yourself because it is a 1 hour show. You're not sitting down Monday night for 3 hours. And when you do that on Monday nights for 3 hours, you can sort of look at things and be like, man, that was really bad and that was 3 hours. But there are so many little segments. There were like 11 different things that happened this episode, including the whole thing with Captain Vasquez I'll get to at the end. And if you didn't like one thing, or if one thing looked too cheesy for you, move on to the next one. Or the next one. There's something for everybody in 1 hour. It all has a great production value, great production quality, and it's enjoyable. It's fun. And my real assignment for next week is that when I review the 4th episode, I'm going to review it just from a fun standpoint. Like, yeah, a couple of things are questionable, then I have fun watching it. Because even that first match, I didn't enjoy the match all that much, but the crowd, the energy, the commentary, the production value, I had fun. The next segment features Prince Puma and Katrina, and apparently Conan is dead. Not sure what happened here. This is where, I didn't watch all of season 1, but apparently Conan is dead and people are freaking out about it. Prince Puma, obviously pissed off. Prince Puma and Conan have been involved in Lucha Underground since basically episode 1 of the first season. So I'm really curious and I'm intrigued as to what they're going to do with this. Is Prince Puma eventually going to switch again or something? I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but I do like that they're just holding him back a little bit. You see the pieces sort of being put in the same room and they're slowly coming together. Now it is main event time. Last luchador standing. We have Phoenix, King Cuerno. Basically a false count anywhere / hardcore match. Really, it's a last man standing because the whole point is that, you don't really get up. Enjoyable match. It was all over the place. I liked the pacing. It was so much different from the other two matches we got on the show. The first one was basically a squash match. The second one was a definite face versus heel, but it was all, for the most part, in the ring. Now in this, it was just everywhere, from missed diving spots to the outside that looked brutal to just slow-paced wrestling. You saw more selling here because, of course, the whole point is that they can't get back up. So it was interesting how Jack Evans gets up like nothing, but then in this match, everybody's magically weaker, yet these are supposed to be the bigger stars. Once again, I'm just going to focus on the fun aspect of Lucha Underground, but I really enjoyed this match. It ends with a spot where the gentleman known as King Cuerno is thrown off the ladder, or the ladder falls through the table, is out for the 10 count. The most interesting thing about this match was that it was not announced until the very show itself. Now, this being a last luchador standing match, you would think that this would have way more promotion, but I like that because keep in mind, this is not a wrestling show. This is a TV show with wrestling. So the idea is that you do not know what's going to happen until it airs. Imagine just getting a preview saying, this person dies. Then that's not fun. In wrestling, you get something like that when you find out who the main event in WrestleMania is going to be or something like that. But in here, no. You watch the show and you got to sit down with just not knowing a lot. You know the roster, you know the cast, you know the storylines. Just sit down, enjoy it, and watch it unfold. Now, this is where things get juicy, and I'm super looking forward to what's going to be happening for the rest of the season. We have the post-show cutscene with a police station. Gaten Vasquez is talking to one of her undercover agents who turns out to be one of the bad guys from the first season. He has all this information about Dario Cueto, etc., who people cannot find and they are looking for actively, and this guy is apparently not getting the job done. Now, he's not being cut from the search and all of these things, but he's gonna have a partner. And it's not Martin Lawrence, it's not Will Smith, it is Joey freaking Ryan is in Lucha Underground. What? How does this even work? In a place where the storylines are like super serious, I know Aerostar, like that's cemented into my brain right now. But Joey Ryan in Lucha Underground, did anybody know about this? Like, let me know in the comments if you knew about this. I legitimately had no idea this was gonna happen. Just the mustache, the shades, it works so well. He's basically a police officer that's gonna get himself into a wrestling ring. Now, I don't know what his name in Lucha Underground is gonna be. I don't remember if they said it there, but I am looking forward to this. The pieces, as I mentioned earlier, are combining. We know that Dario Cueto is developing something. We're not sure what, but it's basically a second temple that's eventually going to assault this temple currently being managed by Katrina. We have Rey Mysterio over here. Now we have the police. I'm looking forward. It's almost like it's going to be some kind of gang warfare eventually here on Lucha Underground. My favorite segment has got to go to the after show cutscene with Joey Ryan. My favorite match. It's for different reasons. It's the main event, but I enjoyed the Jack Evans Drago match for just completely different reasons. But I would love to know which has been your favorite match / moment for season 2, episode 3. Now remember to check out my WrestleCrate video also here on the channel. Something really cool, just a hint, there's going to be a video coming out next week about a possible giveaway. Now details will be revealed in its own video, not on the podcast, so make sure to subscribe and join the family. If you have any advice as to how I should enjoy Lucha Underground, just let me know. Also, quick thing here. Should I name these reviews or should I just keep them Lucha Underground review number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I sent out a tweet the other day and Wizard of Gore suggested the name Straight from the Underground. I bring this one up because it's the one that I like the most. It's almost too good. It's like, is it worth it? Just this deep name, Straight from the Underground. Let me know if you like that name in the comments section. If not, suggest any other ones. Thank you once again for your support. It really means a lot to us. This is something different. Obviously, we have the podcast where we talk about the WWE every single Tuesday night, but this is sort of my space as a wrestling fan to really try something else. Lucha Underground is something that is so different. You know, people like The Rock enjoy it. I know Jim Cornette is somebody that doesn't really like it. As a matter of fact, it seems like he hates it. If you want me to talk about that down the line, also let me know in the comments section. So until next time, thank you for watching, and we will be back with a lot more right here on Byte That.